And that's how it should be in a family. And if the church is the family of God, if we are brothers and sisters together with Jesus Christ, that means when any one of us suffers, we all suffer. And that means that we should be ready to lay down our lives for one another, just like we would for a brother or a sister, because we are brothers and sisters. I remember when I was young. Yes, I was young once. There was, it's all relative. You know, Shadrach says, yeah, you're still young. That's just because he's a lot older than me. But there are people older than you too, aren't there, Shadrach? And some of them would say, you're still young, right? It all depends. But anyway, when I was in my teens, okay, let's put it that way, there was a very popular American Christian songwriter named Bill Gaither. How many of you have heard of Bill Gaither? Gaither has authored many very popular Christian contemporary songs that are really old now. They're still contemporary relatively. Among them, one of my favorites, he was the author along with his wife of Majesty that we sing together, sometimes as one of our choral calls to worship. But they had a song that my brothers and sisters and I learned to sing as part of what we did when we got together and we sang for church and stuff. And it was called, I'm So Glad I'm a Part of the Family of God. Any of you ever hear that song? It goes like this. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood, joint heirs with Jesus as we travel this far. I'm so glad I'm a part of the family of God. And then there's a line in it that says, you may notice that we say brother and sister around here. And that's because we hold each other so dear. When we hold each other dear, then we suffer together. And when we suffer together, then not just we as individuals find ourselves growing through suffering, but we as a congregation find ourselves growing through suffering. And I actually thought about showing a YouTube video that I mentioned to a couple of you in passing. But the video, for some reason, the sound quality is not good, so I didn't think you'd be able to hear it very well anyway. You know, I introduced a little while back a song that we've sung quite a bit recently called Overcome, right? And I have to admit it's one of my new favorites. And it's an interview of Ross Parsley and the Desperation Band, who are the house praise team for New Life Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado, who wrote that song. And it's an interview in which they say, you know, this song came out of our struggles. And in the space of 18 months, their longtime senior pastor confessed to having inappropriate sexual affairs and resigned. And then, some of you may remember when this happened, one Sunday morning, a gunman walked into their congregation and shot 2 of the young women in the congregation to death. And the praise team wrote this song, Overcome, out of that experience. So when they say, you know, we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, they're singing about their experience of growing and coming closer together was experiencing, but through the troubles. And in the interview, Ross Parsley, the lead singer for their praise team and their worship pastor, says, you know, we grew more as a congregation through that difficult time. See, we're made perfect through our suffering. It's the hard things that we manage to trust God through that really make us grow. Not the easy times when it seems like God's blessing us right and left, and all we have to do is sort of follow along. And in some ways, that's why this table has become the center focus of our ritual. Because this table is only possible because Jesus died. And not just died, but died in a very suffering way. You know, it is through the precious blood of Jesus that our life is made possible. So I'm not asking you to become Gnostics. But what I am asking you to do is to learn how to look for the blessing in the midst of the suffering. To look for how God is working through the troubles. To seek to be perfected through the hard times. Because somebody said somewhere, the more you try to do God's thing, the more Satan wants to cause trouble. But here's the good news, friends. The one who sanctifies and those who are sanctified have one Father. And Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers and sisters. So let us claim our identity as children of the living God and as brothers and sisters of Jesus Christ. And let us let the hard times, the sufferings, help us move forward rather than fall back. God never promised us it would be easy. In fact, if we read really clearly, God promised us it would be tough. But it's not too tough, because we don't do it alone. We have a big brother, an elder brother, Jesus Christ, who is the righteous one, who is the bright and morning star, who is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He is the firstborn of the dead, the first fruits of God's salvation. But He is bringing many, many sons and daughters with Him into glory. And that one, Jesus Christ, who suffered that we might become part of the family, invites us to come to the table and gain strength, that we too might suffer with Him, that we might be raised with Him in glory. Thanks be to God for this gracious invitation.